Hello, all you beautiful people out there, and welcome to my channel and to Atheist Church. And now I hope you can hear me. So, this won't take too long. By the way, the online atheist community is growing, and while we try not to step on each other's toes, we just there's no way not to. So, Gerst streams, uh, that is Germania's live stream channel. Hi, Pip. So Gerst streams is going right now. And as soon as I get done with this, if he's still streaming, I'm going to go over to his channel and, go in and see what's up with the stream and all that. But anyway, even before I found out he was streaming, I knew this wasn't going to take a very long time. So I had a hard time figuring out what to title this. And so I finally decided to title it Take, Eat, Take, Drink. Because depending on what flavor of Christianity you are, the name for this changes. Some people call it the Lord's Supper, okay? It's not the Lord's Supper. The Lord's Supper was the Last Supper that Jesus supposedly had with his disciples. And according to the Gospels, depending on which one you read, and this is why all the Gospels cannot be right. Depending on which Gospel you read, they had the Passover, either the Last Supper, I should say, the one where Jesus did the bread and the wine and all that shit, was either right after the Passover meal, or it was the night before the Passover meal. And again, it just depends on. Hey, Hans. It just depends on which gospel you're reading. So anyway, moving on. So the Mormons call it sacrament, and they have it every week. The Catholics call it Eucharist, and they have it every week. The Jehovah's Witnesses call it, the memorial, and they have it once a year. And for whatever reason, most of the Protestants will call it the Lord's Supper, even though it's not the Lord's Supper. Anyway, moving on. So take, eat, take, drink. So in the Eucharist, the Catholics believe that the bread literally turns into the flesh of Christ, and the blood literally turns into, or the wine literally turns into the blood of Christ. And this is called transubstantiation. It never really made any sense to me, but I was never Catholic. If you've been Catholic, it might have made sense to you when you were Catholic. I don't know. But it was always symbolic when I was growing up. And that's just how I grew up. I mean, I don't have anything against the Catholics. You think it's the literal body and the literal blood of Christ. I mean, except that is really, really creepy because that's like, you know, ritual cannibalism. But at any rate, getting off that topic, um, so so usually when the Baptists have it, and that's the kind of Protestantism I grew up in. Usually when the Baptists have it, it'll be an entire sermon in and of itself. With the Mormons, they actually have an entire hour that they call the sacrament. And the most important thing within that hour is the sacrament. And so, we first in the Mormon church, there's first the opening prayer in sacrament, okay? And then in the sacrament service, there's the opening prayer, and then there are the announcements, like, ward or branch announcements, and then, other announcements, like maybe something happened church wide. So you've got those kinds of announcements. And then you have the sacrament. And then afterward, there are talks. And each talk is given by a different person. Now, interestingly, in the Mormon church, even though the priesthood is only held by males, the women are much more involved in church affairs, even though the priesthood is entirely male, than in other churches, particularly Protestant churches. And females are allowed to speak in front of the church, and a lot of the talks are given by females. Females are also Sunday school teachers. They can say prayers and all that. So, I mean, so anyway, and I'll explain that all when I get into the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So, that's come up. Don't know when. So anyway, you've got the not only do you have different names for this particular ritual, but there are also different ways of doing it. Like the Catholics, I don't know whether they're still doing this with the virus and all that. But to do have one cup, and when you go up to take the Eucharist, you would drink out of one cup, and the priest would just wipe it every time a person would come up to drink. But and the wafer's bigger than in the Protestant churches, say the Baptist churches. The wafer's bigger. Then in Mormonism, there's no grape juice, because in most of Protestantism, they use grape juice because most of them are against drinking. So they use grape juice. But the Mormons don't use grape juice. And the reason is because people used to poison the grape juice that the Mormons used to use. So then they changed to water, because it was much easier to control the water source than it was to control like a grape juice source. I mean, even if you go out and buy the grape juice sealed, there's no telling what kind of tampering can happen with grape juice. So they still use water to this day. They also use just plain old bread, whatever's available. Like most of the time it's homemade bread from one of the sisters in the congregation, but it can be whatever. They can go get a loaf of bread somewhere, and that'll work just fine. It doesn't have to be unleavened bread. And that's because they were usually on they just didn't have, when they were doing the pioneering stuff, which was real pioneering stuff, not the JW shit that you have today that's called pioneering. But when they were really pioneering, like going out west and settling, they really did not have time to bake bread for sacrament. So, that's why it's either store-bought or homemade, because if bread was a staple back then, and of course Mormons believe in the sanctity of the Sabbath, which in their minds is Sunday, and there is no work on Sunday. So they instead of making a special batch of unleavened bread, they just used whatever was left over, which was regular bread, right? So anyway, moving on. The JWs have a different system. Only if you're a member of the 144,000 can you partake in the memorial, which is absolutely hilarious, because I mean, more than 144,000 people last year partook of the memorial. So now now the governing body is saying, well, just because somebody partook in the memorial doesn't mean they're of the 144,000. I mean, they could be mentally diseased and all that shit. So, I mean, it's just like, what the fuck? I mean, really. So, anyway, But yeah, um, but that's about all I have. I mean, uh, it's just really. I mean, I understand rituals. I mean, okay, I was Wiccan for a while, and Wiccans have rituals. Okay, no problem there. I get rituals, but when you get to ritual cannibalism, that is some fucking nonsense right there. Hello? Yeah, I know, right? Can you guys still hear me? Okay. I'm sorry. The only way I know this is working is the pulsating thing around my avatar, and sometimes it's not uh, pulsating. So, um, whatever. But anyway, that's all I've got for today. Um, Gerst Streams is still live, I believe. Um, and so I'm gonna go over there. Sometimes he has dumpster fires over there, which is, fucking hilarious. Um, but if you're not familiar with Gourmania, uh, you really should go check him out. He does have two channels. He's got Gerst Streams for dumpster fires only, and then he's got his regular channel, which is Gourmania. So go check out those two channels, and yeah, I will talk to you guys later. Uh, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you would like to help this channel out, become a member. You can become a member for 99 cents a month. Um, you can also donate on Patreon if you would like to. And yeah, I will see you guys later. Bye.